Hey everyone, welcome to Community Comms with Debilee. I am Debilee, a communications strategist, community connector, and a native New Yorker who probably talks a little bit too fast. In this series, I'm going to be sitting down with leaders that are doing incredible work within their communities and ask them 10 questions in hopefully 10 minutes about leadership communication and what it really takes to bring people together. Because I'm always known for a good conversational side quest, I can't guarantee you that these will always be 10 minutes. In fact, they're probably mostly not going to be. But I am really excited to bring all of the amazing human beings that I've had the opportunity to connect with and work with over the last 15 years or so, introduce them to you. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest for today, which is Abdou Kattih. He is the founder and president of Murfreesboro Muslim Youth. But I've done enough talking, so let me go ahead and let him take it away. All right. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I am going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself because I want to introduce you, but I don't want to steal your thunder. So aside from saying Abdou, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much for being on our first season of Community Comms. And why don't you go ahead, start us off, introduce yourself, and share the community that you're building right now.
Thanks for having me, Debilee, and thanks for doing this. This is something unique I haven't seen before. My name is Abdou Kattih. I am a Syrian native, a Muslim by faith, and an American by acquisition. I moved here in 1997 and started building my life here, got married, had kids, and became part of the community I live in. I'm passionate about nonprofit, community, social work, and I've done it in a variety of different ways, from serving my own community, the Muslim community, to serving the community at large, just serving with other nonprofits on board levels or activate level or volunteer level. And then I built the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth, and as a founder, and I'm still the president of the organization today. So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited to see what it will bring.
Definitely. I mean, you shared a little bit about your kind of like you've been in this community space for a long time. So you definitely have a lot of experience with community building. But with this particular community, was there a particular moment or experience with Murfreesboro Muslim Youth when you started thinking about this, that you realized that this was something that your community needed, that you something you needed to do?
Yeah, absolutely. There are a couple of things historically that has happened, one on the community level, one on a personal level. Back in the year 2010, 2009, 2010, I was the vice president of the Islamic Center of Murfreesboro, and we purchased a property and we started planning to build an Islamic center. And there was a serious opposition from the local community, some of the local community, that turned violent at time, arsons, personal attacks, and so forth. And we continued to fight through it, and the mosque was built, and I stepped down from the board when the building started to be erected. And internally, I internalized somewhat of resentment toward the community I live in. Like, what a horrible community I'm in. What am I doing here? And then as you step back from the middle of the fire, like they say, you start looking back, say, oh, I missed this. This was really cool. This person brought us flour. Oh, this person really organized an event to support it. This person did that. And slowly you start realizing that in a way you were looking at the void in the sky, missing all the stars. And the next thing was, like, by a year after I stepped down from the board, there was a murder in North Carolina, in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, when one of my friend's son and his wife and her sister were killed in their home by the neighbor in a hate crime that shook North Carolina. And I attended the funeral. During that time, there were a lot of people in the funeral. A lot of them were youth, and a lot of them were not Muslims. I was like, why are you here? Why are you attending this funeral? And I've realized these kids have touched the lives of so many people by not a single major thing they did. It's just a small thing they did in their life. So I came back thinking, how can we build something to nourish giving back? within my Muslim youth in our community, my own children, that we have effectively trained to be isolated because we were afraid of the community we live in, and take them out of that bubble to the community at large to show that who they are by acts of service, acts of partnerships, acts of good in the community. And that's where the MMI started.
I think it's so beautiful. And I love how you took something that was really hard and heart-wrenching, and instead of just kind of like saying, okay, fine, let's build these walls up, which I think is human nature. And of course, in the beginning, we all do that, I think, when something bad happens. But instead of staying there, which is where a lot of people stop, you said, this is not enough. We have to be more than what people on the outside see us as. And I think that's so beautiful. And I am so excited because I get to work with you in volunteering in the community. I know I have 850 answers for the next question myself, but I really love to hear from you, and I know my audience would too. With the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth in particular, that you've been actively building now for the last almost 11 years, this is such a special community. I mean, I can just say that from, having hung out with you guys for the last 4 years or so. But I know that it's a special community to you. And I'd love to know what makes that the group that you're serving right now, this active community, what makes this special to you? What do you see in it that's like, wow, this is different than other communities maybe that you've been a part of or led in the past?
I think that the biggest thing for me personally is that constant ability to be roaming free from any bubble that you belong to, that you're able to reach out to different groups and other bubbles around you and work with them without losing who you are, without having to sacrifice part of yourself to be there, creating a space where it's like physics 101, like the bubbles, the biggest energy is in the surface where they touch each other. And that's what energy we're losing because we stay in the middle of that bubble and we lose using the energy. So when we step out of that bubble, reach out, there's a lot of energy there. There's a lot of interaction, a lot of potential to build, because you can't build from the inside. You can just make yourself larger and larger. But if you want to really build something different, you have to start building outside where you're at. And without losing that connection. And I think that's the most special thing. And it is something really hard for people to digest, be honest with you. It is something really hard for the Muslim to digest, and it's very hard for non-Muslim to digest as well. But it's been a struggle uphill, but we've seen a lot of change.
Definitely. And I think it's, I love that analogy that you said about the bubble. It's because it's just so poignant, right? Like you look at bubbles, right? Like, and I just, in my head I'm thinking of like, instead of like that, oh, I live in this bubble, right? Like I'm thinking of like a bubble bath, right? Like what makes a bubble bath so awesome is that there are so many bubbles together, making something fun, exciting, interesting.
And they come together and they form a larger bubble. And
yes.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome because now it's not just like because Murfreesboro Muslim Youth is such a beautiful example and testament to that, I think. And I know that you touched on this a little bit, but I'd love for you to dive in a little bit more. When you first started this organization, there obviously was a need that you were trying to meet, something that you saw that was missing in the community. And what in particular, I would say, because you kind of answered this already. So like knowing that your goal was to kind of like bridge that gap between the Muslim community and the rest of the world around them here in Murfreesboro, and teach them how you can be, like you can adhere to your faith and your principles, and you don't have to give up who you are in order to serve and still be part of the larger community. Knowing that, like, what is the, I guess, not just what gap were you trying to fill, because I think you have clear on that, like that's clear, but like what gaps have you seen being filled that maybe you didn't think about before, right? Like, oh, I didn't realize that was going to come from this, but it has.
I think the biggest thing is my personal growth. Like you always, like you don't realize how much you are the person you're trying to change, how much you resemble. Like we always think about What if I'm wrong and they're right? What if I'm right and they're wrong? And the question becomes not what's right and what's wrong, it's more of, can we work together? We can have two rights.
Yes. I
And
remember.
that was it.
Yeah, no, I
That was
remember
it.
a conversation we had a long time ago where you mentioned that, like, what if like there's not a wrong answer except when we're separate from each other.
And that's one of the personal lessons that I've learned, is that I could be wrong on many fronts there, and I could learn something new. And the second thing that I've learned is don't ever underestimate the strength of a young individual. No matter how weak you see them, no matter how introvert you see them, no matter how not capable you may perceive them the first minute, a lot of time, if you give somebody the right tools, if you give somebody the right opportunity, they will thrive. So I think that the one lesson I've learned working in a nonprofit with the youth is that in reality, they teach me a whole lot more than I teach them.
Yeah, I think that is so beautiful. I just, even the posture of coming in and saying, look, I know I thought I was going to come here and do something awesome, but just because I was open, I was, there were some gaps in me that were filled by this community. That is just so beautiful. What, thinking about your community, because I mean, 10, 11 years is a long time for a community to grow and stay consistent. I know there's always like the ebbs and flows that come with time, but for the most part, for at least as long as I've known about Murfreesboro Muslim Youth, you guys have been known as like a community staple. Like, you guys are like, this is, if you want to understand what Murfreesboro is all about, like, this is the organization that you want to plug into. And what do you think has helped like establish that engagement, but then also like keep it, knowing that it's not always perfect, but like has helped people to stay engaged?
Yeah. There's a saying in our faith tradition that says you have to give till it hurts. And then you realize you haven't given enough.
Mm.
And I think in the biggest thing is being consistent and deliverance are very crucial. And the second thing that's really, really important for me is to not focus on results.
Oh.
Results don't matter. And very often, I think, especially in the nonprofit sector, we focus so much on the organization, the name of the organization, the numbers, that we lose track of people in the process. And for me personally, and I tell this, you've heard me say this to our youth, any one of them is more worthy than the whole MMI with a margin. So it's very important for me to be consistent. So you give a small amount, you do something consistently over 3-5 years. I mean, we delivered over 60,000 meals, but we didn't deliver 10,000 meals in 1 month. We delivered 5 meals a week for 10 years, and that's adds up.
Yeah.
And you deliver, meaning when you make a promise, you deliver on your promise. You have an event schedule, you show up, even if it's just 2 people, you're still there. You can deliver on your promise. And third is not to focus that much on results. Because if in historical religious context, and I know you're Christian, is if that was important, then Jesus would have died in vain.
Yeah.
Because there were no results. He lost.
Yeah.
But he did it.
Yeah, no, that's so the first thing you mentioned, I think, is so powerful, because I've had a few of these conversations so far as I've been building towards a series, just in recording conversations with different people. And you mentioned that like there's one person is more valuable than an entire community. Like there's that person to person, the people matter more than the numbers. I think that is the most powerful thing across all of this, where there's like this connection of like understanding, like, yeah, the numbers are nice, but it doesn't matter if a person's life wasn't touched, if the way that they saw you personally wasn't changed, if the way that if their need wasn't met, if they didn't feel like, oh, I'm better because I know Abdou, because I interacted with him, I'm a better human being, or even, hey, we have food on our table because that one person that I never knew before today came and brought a food box to my door. And I think that's so powerful. And like you said, it's lost. It gets lost a lot when we start focusing so much on the numbers. We forget that there's people. Like the numbers are not just numbers, there's people. And I love that, just kind of like that connection, that understanding that like it's people work. Because especially for me, right, like coming from corporate, is a lot of this is like data, right? Like we take it in all as data, and then we're just like, okay, well, what do the numbers tell us to do? Then we do that, right? Because but it's not always about the numbers. Sometimes it's about sometimes impact goes beyond numbers. So I really, really appreciate that. And I think that it is that way that you do stay consistent is by always looking at you're not looking at projects, you're looking at people. And now I know that, you've mentioned a few very, very challenging things that as a community and as an individual that you faced, but what do you think as an active community builder, what is one of the hardest things? Sometimes we like to talk about like, hey, here are all the things we've achieved, but we don't take time to take stock. And then people that are watching on the other end might be like, oh, I just started and it's really hard, so maybe it's not for me. So like if we could kind of like take that layer of what feels good, and it's amazing that the organization's made it 11 years, but like there's been some hard stuff that the organization's faced. And what do you think has been the hardest part of sustaining that community?
For me as a leader, one of the hardest things I have to deal with is, as a Muslim leader for a Muslim organization, for Muslim youth, is shielding my youth from the hate. That is probably the hardest thing to do. Is you've seen some of the comments we get, some of the messages we get firsthand, and how do you keep this from them, keep this from affecting how they see the work, keep this from affecting how they perceive the community they live in? Because sometimes, we all are human beings, we have certain emotions, and it's easy to say, oh, they all hate me, I'm not going to do this, why am I doing this? And that's probably externally is the hardest thing. The second hardest thing is the resentment we have till today from some of the Muslim community because we're working outside our bubble.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
And it's like a double sword you're dealing with, like damn if you do and damn if you don't.
Yeah, no, that's a really, really hard one, is kind of when you're doing that hard work of interfaith community building, is the fact that like sometimes the people on the inside aren't on your side, and then the people on the other side they're not ready to be receptive yet, or they're conditioned by the world around them. For me, growing up in a very, like evangelical Christian home myself, I remember the things that I was taught about, people outside of my faith. And I remember always wondering, like, this is crazy. Like, I know some people, this doesn't make sense. And so, in coming together with the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth, sometimes I still get people saying, why are you doing that? And I'm only, like one person on the other side that's just like, well, my answer is always the same. It's like, they're doing what my Bible tells me Jesus told me to do. So if they're doing it, I'm gonna go do it with them. But I can imagine on the inside of that, there's that pressure from both sides, because it's not just people on your side saying, hey, why are you doing that? It's also people on the other side saying, ooh, what makes you think you belong here?
Right. That's probably the two biggest challenges as far as organization. We're not talking about the ups and downs of any nonprofit, but I think the first one is very unique to us, is the having to shield my kids from the hate around them in the community, some of the hate around them in the community. And the second one is having that double sword, because you're in a space that nobody believed exists or should exist. And you're trying to convince them that this is, if not me, then who?
That is definitely a unique challenge. And I think that I'm so glad that you brought light to that, because I think a lot of people that are trying to bridge that gap also see that, and it feels like unseen, like it's that labor behind, right? It's that unseen work of like, where do I fit in? Because I don't fit in with these people that I'm supposed to fit in, but I also don't fit in with those people out there. So where do I fit in? And it's like, like you're building a table. Instead of waiting for there to be room for you at someone else's table, you're building your own. And I think that's so beautiful. speaking about leadership, you've been in this space for a long time, but you've also been in leadership outside of nonprofit. So I think that you in particular have a whole lot of value and experience. Like, what's something in any of the places that you've contributed to that you have learned about leadership that you think, geez, if I knew this sooner, I probably, like, look at how much I probably would have, like, done better at. What was one of those lessons that if you could talk to a leader right now that's growing, like, what is that lesson you'd want them to learn today instead of 10 years after building the organization?
I think that the two things is, for me as a leader in general, not just in the nonprofit world, one, your objective is to grow people to be better than you, not to work under you. And that's very important. And the second one that I've had a personal struggle with at the beginning, and I still sometimes struggle with, is the demand that might say, I don't ever ask somebody to do something I have it done myself, and I'm not willing to do myself. That servant leader mindset, like if you've seen it in an event, like if I'm asking you to fold the tables, and I'm folding the tables with you. I'm not going to sit on my golden throne and ask you to do things. And I think usually you get a whole lot more response with that. And very commonly it becomes an organic nature with it. You don't even have to tell people. You start doing something and they just jump around, start doing it with you. And that's more leadership than it is just managing people.
Yeah, I think that's really, really a powerful thing you said. And it's so funny that you said that that's like one of the areas that you like have learned and that you love to, because I see that so much as a part of who you are that I just like, I can't even imagine a version of you where that wasn't who you are, right? Like, because that's the only way I've ever known you to be, the kind of person that's like leading by example. And I agree with you 100%. It just goes so much further when I'm willing to do that work with you than when I just tell you to go and do it. Even in like, even at home, right? Like we all have our roles. Like my son's job is to take out the trash, but when there's a lot of trash, right? Like okay, I'm going to help you break down boxes. We're going to do this together. Right. Like, and it's funny because, I feel like there's an outside picture to the rest of the world that says like, oh, when you're a leader, you don't have to do those things anymore. Yeah. But when you're a leader, doing those things is leading. Because everything you do as a leader is leadership.
Right.
That's so powerful. Okay, I'm going to shift gears for a little bit here. We got a personal one here outside of your work. I know it's so super important. And I know that first, when you're really passionate about what you're doing, sometimes it's like you work without knowing that you're working. It's like, I'm not really working today. I'm just going to, but there's always that thing that you'll have to kind of like to prevent burnout and all that, to disconnect a little bit, focus on something that brings you joy personally. What is that? What is that for you? What is the thing that helps you recharge or stay grounded?
Family and travel. I enjoy traveling and try to do a few trips a year myself with the family, with the kids, and family for sure. I mean, my wife, Hiba, I would have not be doing any of this if it wasn't for her. She started me. She take care of everything else. I mean, nonprofit work, especially for a volunteer like me, I'm 100% volunteer, is like a second family.
Yeah.
You have all of a sudden, and you're dedicated. It's not like I can't just quit and turn my 14-day notice and walk away. It's not how it works. It's a commitment. And if you didn't have a family support, then that commitment would not be fulfilled properly. You'd always have that additional stress. And the second thing for me is that I like to travel, like often.
That's good. I think too, like sometimes it's just changing your surroundings, right? Like it's just like, let me get out of here and it's something different for a little while.
Yeah. And it's also very
answering the questions or taking the calls. It's from a different place. So
yeah.
One thing you said also that I don't want to glaze by, because I know that you're not a braggadocious person. You don't brag about the organization unless it's to brag that some amazing youth has done something incredible. But one thing you just glazed over real quickly that I don't want our audience to miss is that you mentioned that, it's a volunteer organization. One thing that's really, really special about the MMY is that MMY is 100% has 100% volunteer leadership. There's no one that collects, nobody on payroll. Everybody's giving of their time outside of taking care of their families, school for the younger ones, or college, or other, work, other commitments, and everyone is doing this. And so it's even crazier to think about the organization as a whole when you think about the fact that, like, everybody's doing 800 things, plus they're running a Thanksgiving, a meal giveaway, they're doing a backpack giveaway for school, they're like, this is all delivering meals, which is a year-round activity. Some people were under the impression that the meals only happen a couple times a year, but you guys are actively delivering food boxes to families in need every day of the year. It's like there's never a time where you're like, nope, we're not doing this. And I think it's absolutely incredible to say, geez, this is 100% volunteers, right? Like, there's nobody on a salary here. Like, everybody's got their own job and life outside of this, and they're still showing up. I think that says a lot.
About a month ago, we were applying for a grant with Islamic Relief USA for food boxes. And one of the questions was, how many employees you have? And there was no option for zero. It wasn't an option. So I sent them an email and said, we're 100% volunteer based. And the guy was like, what do you mean you're 100% volunteer based? You do this work, this much work, and you have that much budget. We don't have payroll. We don't have any employees. And they have to tweak the system to allow zero. Like, we don't have that as an option.
That is, I mean, it's just insane, because that's literally, like, this is the thing. Organizations like this that last as long as MMY has, and that sustain as much of the community as MMY does, generally they don't do it without the help of at least one full-timer or even some part-time staff. And you guys are just out there giving. And I think that is, to that mention you made earlier of the, I think it was a quote or a belief that's part of your faith of, like, give until it hurts. It's like, no, there's no time where we're saying no to somebody who's in need. We're always showing up, even if I'm tired. And I know you yourself, like you said earlier, like, sometimes that means you are great. I got out of work at 8 o'clock tonight and I'm delivering a food box to somebody's house because they don't have food to eat, if nobody else is available. And I think that just, it shows just the heart behind this organization and what makes it so special. Now, saying that, because it is 100% volunteer based and it is almost entirely funded by the community, I know that the organization takes essentially no government grants or anything like that. You guys, everything you're doing is raised from community organizations or community members that are giving. If somebody wanted to say, geez, this sounds like something incredible and I want to be a part of it, how would they support what you're building and what you're doing?
The easiest way is to volunteer. That's the most easy way, that doesn't cost you anything. The second one is to donate. If they have money they want to donate, they can donate through our website, through Venmo, WhatsApp. They can donate on a regular basis. They can donate one time. They can donate a used car if they want to. If they have a car they don't want, we can take that too. And they can donate in a variety of different ways. What we encourage people to do the most is what we call dollar for change. It's basically committing $1 a day to the organization on a regular basis. And that goes a long way with the work we do.
I think that is so powerful, especially in this day and age. A lot of times we're thinking like, geez, no, I don't have enough to donate. There's a number that you mentioned last year, I think, in a conversation we were having, where you mentioned you were kind of giving people an average, because the next big thing that's happening for the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth is the backpack giveaway that you guys have been doing annually. I believe it's been the full 10 years that you guys have been doing school back to school. Yeah. So in that, you mentioned, how much money do you think it takes to give kids everything they need to go back to school? And there were like so many different guesses. Can you share that with our audience here, so they can kind of get a picture of like how far maybe what they think is a little bit of money can go to help the community?
We really squeeze the dollars with the organization. Like, everything we spend it very wisely, and we research it. So with the back to school this year, we are expecting to serve about 500 to 600 children. And we create a shopping experience for them, not just a backpack we give to them. It's not a handout. It's the kids come in, they shop. They go pick their own backpack, their own pencils, pens, and they just walk through the aisles and pick what they want, and it's all free. And we're expecting to serve about 600 kids with about less than $10 a person, and that's everything.
That's like, think about that. Think about how wild that is. That like $10. That's probably, you know, like for some people, they're, you know, that's almost their coffee budget for the day, like for their morning coffee, right? Like you can't even get a meal for $10 in this economy. But you know, you're working to make sure that children have what they need, and it doesn't take much. It just takes being committed. And so I think those are wonderful things. I know you guys have your website, which is Murfreesboro Muslim Youth.org, where people can learn about things. And then also on Facebook and Instagram, you guys are always publishing everything that's going on. So I'm excited, and we do hope that, you know, some people will choose to contribute, especially towards this upcoming events that happen. So there's a few things that happen every year. I know I'm going off script here because I can't help myself. This is, but there's like a few core events that happen every year, and just give people a picture of what those look like. So we've got the backpack giveaway, and then in October is my personal favorite, which the Murfreesboro Muslim Youth does an international festival in downtown Murfreesboro every year. And then in November is the Thanksgiving, where you provide meals to, I think it was close to 1,100 people the last year. And so this, if you want to share a little bit about that, because I know we're telling people, look, you're giving money to a good cause here. Let's tell them a little bit about what their funds are going to go to.
So Thanksgiving every year, we basically take over the shelters, homeless camps, nursing homes, Meals on Wheels routes, and people requesting meals at home. And we deliver. We prepare Thanksgiving meals in warm, handmade, and we deliver it to homes across the city on Thanksgiving morning. Last year, we delivered about 1,100 meals. This year, we're hoping to go above that, and probably not even $5 a meal delivered to home.
And that's just incredible. And it's thanks, of course, to our incredible volunteers and everyone that donates. And so these are the things that are coming up that we're focused on for the next a few months. If you want to contribute, I will make sure in the description here that we have all the links. So you can either join Dollar for Change if you want to be a consistent supporter, or you can make a one-time donation. And of course, volunteer. Those are the opportunities that are coming up to volunteer. Will be the backpack giveaway, which we're still looking for volunteers for, and that's in July. And then there's we're always looking for drivers to deliver smiles on Thanksgiving. So for sure, there's stay plugged in. Check out the website and social media so that you can make sure you stay plugged in and get an opportunity. I think one thing that is so unique that most people I've talked to after they've either delivered meals or volunteered at a particular event is everybody comes away with this thing of, I was so excited to come here and give back. But then I walked away with so much, right? Like I ended up being the one who felt like, wow, this is amazing, right? And that's just so it's just a real testament to the way that you also honor all the volunteers that are a part of it, because there's never a time that MMY isn't expressing gratitude for the people that are serving. It's not like, oh, good, you showed up, now we can do this, let's keep going. Like there's this consistent attitude of gratitude throughout the entire organization. It's not just one person, it's every single person you talk to, whether it's a 14-year-old that's like volunteering to put meals together, or a parent that's sponsoring an event, and that's so awesome. I'm going off on a tangent, so I'm going to stop. Last question. So we know now how we can support. When you think, just so we can end on a positive note, right? When we think about the future of Murfreesboro Muslim Youth, what is something that really gives you hope for where the organization is right now and where they're headed?
I mean, the support we get from the community, and I believe the blessing we get from God. I mean, if you go back 11 years ago, I can't think of a single logical reason for us to exist today. We shouldn't exist today. And every year we go through certain hardship, financially or otherwise, and we sit down and discuss it at the board, and 2 days later it gets resolved somehow. And I think what gives me hope is the kids that work around us, the volunteers, the community we live in. And I believe this is a blessed effort that's being blessed from the beginning, and it's continuing to be blessed. And I strongly believe this work would have been here without us and would have been done probably better. So ultimately, we're the beneficiaries from this by being blessed to be served, to be able to serve.
Well, definitely. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this afternoon. I really appreciate you sharing about the organization and about the unique community that you serve, because I think it's so special. It's something really amazing that we have in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I have, having moved here from out of state, there's nothing like the community in Murfreesboro, but most definitely nothing like Murfreesboro Muslim Youth. So I am honored to have you on here today. Thank you. And thanks to everybody who's tuning in. Be sure to check the caption out, and we will have all those ways for you to continue supporting the efforts that Murfreesboro Muslim Youth is enacting here in the community. Thanks, everybody.
Debilee.
All right. Take care.
Have a good day. Thank you.